welcome to this edition of the Kingsmen and the Cyber Guy podcast. It is October 2nd, 2025 when we're recording this. Lord only knows when it is your time when you're listening to this. But I am the Cyber Guy, Darren Mott, retired FBI supervisory special agent. Joined with me, as always, is my partner at Five Eyes Ltd, former UK military intelligence operative analyst, all-around crazy
All the
guy,
above.
the Kingsman, Michael McQuaid. Mike, happy Thursday.
Absolutely. Just get me to that weekend. It's been a crawl this week, isn't it? It's been a
Yeah,
crawl.
especially because you got a vacation next week, so yay for you.
Probably should have said it on the podcast, Darren, but well done you. 10 points to Gryffindor. Well done you.
Dude, like the three people that listen aren't going to come right to your house. No one knows where you live. It's not like there's. I'm not telling them where you live in West London, next to Prince William. So what's the problem?
I wish I did that well in my career that I could live next to Prince William.
All right. So last week we did securing the Edge browser because that's your browser of choice, correct?
It is one of my chosen browsers, yes.
And that's largely because you're a Windows user, right?
That is correct, yes.
Right. So obviously we didn't really talk about this last week, but there's tons of different browsers. There's if you're a Windows browser, Edge is the default one that comes in play. Used to be called Microsoft Explorer, and
Right.
it's lousy security. And if you don't secure those browsers, you're out of gas. So we walked through that. Did you get any messages about how quickly people could secure their browser?
I did not know.
No,
I did not.
nor did I. But this week we're going to do the same thing. We're going to secure the Firefox browser, which is a very common, it's got a little more, in my opinion, more security features than Edge certainly has, more than Safari if you're a Mac user. I'm a Mac user or Apple user, although I have a Windows machine as well, but that's for more work-oriented PI stuff if I do that. So Firefox obviously is one, and Brave is another one. I mean, there's Opera. We're not going to do them all. We're just going to do the big ones, especially ones that have security built in. And I will say, if you compare last week to this week, I think you'll find that Firefox is a little easier and a little more detailed in how they look at security and privacy. So again, I'm not saying you must go to Firefox. I won't say that for any product. It's your own personal assessment to determine what is your risk level, what do you want to do to protect yourself, and how are you going to go about doing it. Even as we walk through this, we're going to flip the roles. Last week, Mike walked me through it. This week, I'm going to walk him through it. You got your teapot for you're gonna turn on your kettle. We're not going through that route today. Just gonna do
No,
time.
no. So I thought for this week what would be better is instead of doing a time, we take our time through it, and as I'm changing the security features, you tell me as to why that one has to go on or why that one has to go off.
Fair enough. That'll work. All right.
Sounds good.
Yep. So
So as the head of IT, I'm going to do a screen share on Zoom and bring up Mozilla Firefox.
and this is you just downloaded it before this podcast. So this is completely new to you, correct?
Yes, it's completely new. It's not
Yep.
something I usually use, so
So all of these settings will be out of the box type of settings. Let me
out of the
change.
box.
Yeah, let me change my zoom a little bit. I don't know why that shows like that, but it's okay. So again, this is a very visual version of the podcast. So if you're listening to this, you can still kind of do it if you follow through while you're listening. It's better to go to the YouTube page and watch the video once that posts so you can kind of see how this goes. I will also post the video or a link to the video on LinkedIn so you can see it there. So our tens of followers can see all those kind of things. And as always, if you like what we're doing, could you let us know? Would be good. That is helpful. You're finding value. Share it with others. Subscribe. Tickle the stupid algorithm so that good things can happen in that perspective. So I'm going to see if I can just do one thing real quick here. That's not what I want. I'm messing with my Zoom to get a different view. That's a little better. All right, so we've got Firefox open. So here's how we kind of walk through this. We want to before you start using it, it's good to add some security features so that you have a safe browsing experience. Because certainly you can have accidents and do things that get bad guys to do stuff to you. And I'll give you a perfect example.
Love that.
Yes. So my in-laws reside with me currently, and a couple weeks ago, I was upstairs doing some work, and my mother-in-law yells to me, "Hey, I need your help. I need your help." So I'm thinking, who fell? Who's got to go to the hospital? What are we talking about? And I hear this weird beeping, this weird like siren going off. I'm like, what is that? She's got her iPad in her hand. And so she has a browser up that's playing this emergency ambulance type music. And I look at it and it says, this computer has been compromised or has been locked. We demand a ransom. If you want to fix it, call this number. Right. So I looked at it and I clicked the X in the tab window. The window disappeared. That was it. That was the extent of it. It's what we call scareware. Does nothing, but it makes people who don't know any better think, oh, I guess I better call this number. And that's where the fraud then goes forward. And I say all this because ideally it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And I'm sorry I'm filibustering here, but I got a lot of thoughts on my mind. Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And Mike and I will talk about Cybersecurity Awareness Month probably for the whole month, about things to do, security. That's why we're doing the security thing, to protect yourself. But if you are listening to this, chances are you are converted to our side. You already know these things. You're just listening for the humorous stories that Mike and I can give so you can get a laugh during the day. Right? Michael Benson, who I know is a listener and follower, so I shout out to him because he actually sent me an email, said it was a good podcast last time. So thank you, Michael. But I buy him lunch periodically, so he's required to say that by dint of our agreement. So, but the point is, like, share this 20-minute, 25-minute podcast with the people in your family who are web browsing all the time and just kind of opening up tabs and mistyping things and doing all this stuff. So again, we're looking to how do we get to the unconverted, the people who don't think about cybersecurity. So we're here to help them do that, because if you can understand the threats targeting you, you can assess your risk, proceed wisely. I need to say that almost once a podcast. So anyway, so Mike's got his Firefox open. So the first thing you're going to do is up in the upper left corner are looks like a ladder, 3 lines. Click on the 3 lines and then go down to settings.
Settings. Yeah.
All right. So now you'll see a bunch of tabs. You want to click privacy and security. And this is the only thing you need to get to kind of start going through this process. So when you're in there, the first thing it'll show you is browser privacy. In other words, enhanced tracking. How much do you want trackers on sites to get your information? So this basically means cookies will load. It will send information back to the user. So when you go to Google and type in, I need shoes for arthritis, you suddenly start getting all sorts of ads for arthritis because the tracker sends information in your browser back to Google that then serves ads up to you. Chances are pretty good your browser, your phone is not really listening to you, but trackers in the sites you go to are tracking your information and feeding you up advertisement. That's how Google, Facebook, Instagram, that's how they make money a lot of the times, is with these trackers. So you have 3 options: standard, strict, and custom. Now, on this point, you have to come up with what is the risk tolerance you have. If you are in cybersecurity, you kind of know how to do things safely. So you're probably just going to hit standard, which gives you balance, protection, and performance. Pages will load normally. And it kind of says what it blocks. It blocks social media trackers, cross-site cookies in all windows. It basically means it won't send cookies to other sites. Tracking content in private windows, crypto miners, and fingerprinters. So it'll protect all of these things. It won't basically take a look at what you're doing on the site. All right, that's a standard protection. Your better bet is to hit strict, which gives you some stronger protection models. It includes everything that you had before, but it also blocks social media trackers and a bunch of other things. It doesn't track content in all windows. And you also want to click allow Firefox to automatically apply exemptions required to avoid major website breakage. Basically meaning with this setting, some of the websites you like may not work. And if you have this setting picked and a site you think should work because it works on another browser is not working on Firefox, then you can go in here and hit allow exceptions, which will allow you to say this site should be okay. All right. So, and if you find this is a big problem, then go back to standard. But this is probably the default privacy protection you should take for your browser windows. There's also custom, which you can customize what you're doing, but that's going to be more for those of you who are converted to cybersecurity can know how to do this. We don't need to walk through how to do that. So this is just for the general user. Should hit strict to start and then figure out if it's too strict, then go back and hit standard and just do safe browsing. Right, so that's the choice there. Now, if you go down now, it says website privacy preferences. Tell websites not to share my data. Say that. Click that. Don't share. You don't need to share stuff to websites. Again, some websites may not work because of that. Then you have to determine, is that important to me or not? Cookie sites and data.
Darren,
Yeah.
just to confirm on the strict box, the box that says also apply exceptions automatically. I've got to click that one as well.
Yeah, click that one as well. It'll give you a better browsing experience. Cookie site and data, essentially just hit the button that says delete cookies and site data when Firefox is closed. That way, Firefox will not maintain any cookies that could theoretically allow a bad guy to steal the cookie session and allow them access to one of your logins. Now, this may mean you have to log in every time, but again, that's a better security precaution than staying logged in to your browser to all things all the time. But again, I am not here to live your life for you. If you don't like this option, then unclick delete cookies, and that way, when you go to log in to whatever your Facebook net tomorrow, it'll still be logged in because the cookie didn't get deleted. But I would turn it on. Under passwords, unclick ask to save passwords. You do not want to save your passwords in your browser because if a bad guy gets access to your computer, goes to your browser, goes to your bank account, and your password is saved there, and you're not using multi-factor authentication, which we still know 60% of people don't use multi-factor authentication appropriately, then the bad guy gets right into your bank, bad things happen. So do not save passwords on site. So that way it won't ever ask you to, because otherwise it'll say, do you want to save this password? And you may by default say, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to save that password. Don't do that. Do not save the passwords. Click on show alerts about passwords for breach sites, because it's good to know that if you have a password that Firefox somehow has stored or knows, it'll tell you it's been compromised and you can no longer use it. All right, the rest of the stuff can stay on site. For autofill, click those off. Again, that just gives a bad guy access to the ability to autofill those spots if they have access to your computer and access to the browser. It's just a safety precaution. Doesn't stop them from doing bad things, but it makes it harder for them to do so. In your history, now here is, you can click always use private mode. Basically, every tab will be a private browser, which means everything is deleted once you get out. You don't necessarily need to do that, but you can if that's what you prefer to do. But if you don't use it, then you want to unclick remember browsing and download history, remember search and form history, clear history but keep the clear history when Firefox closes setting. No reason to store your history unless you think you need it because you're going to forget something you wanted to go to, but there's no reason to have it. It's just keeps the cache low and might save a little bit of space on your computer.
Yep.
Go down under permissions. You can leave all those kind of set, but block pop-up windows and warn you when websites try to install add-ons. Have both of those clicked, which they should be by default. That basically makes your life a little easier from that perspective. For Firefox data collection and usage, unclick them all. You don't need to send them anything. If they can't figure out how to secure their own browser, you don't need to be sharing it with them. It doesn't serve you any good. It just gives them more information about you, your browsing history, and what you're doing on your device. On security, you want to click all those things. Block dangerous and deceptive content, block dangerous downloads, warn you for unwanted and uncommon software, so that if you accidentally go to a website you didn't mean to go to, and it's going to download something in the background, this should theoretically stop that from happening. Now, there's workarounds. Bad guys have workarounds. So it doesn't, again, this is not guaranteed this will not happen, but it certainly lowers your risk overall. For certificates, you can keep both of those checked. That just allows your sites to run better. For HTTPS only mode, you want to click enable HTTPS only mode. So that way the sites you're on guarantees you are using, do it for all windows, the one above that, Mike, there you go. You want to click the first one, enable HTTPS only mode for all windows. That way, you will not go to a site that's not encrypted between you and it. So it's, again, an added security precaution. You may find some sites don't work correctly because maybe that site is only HTTP versus HTTPS. If that's the case, especially if it's something with your financial information, then you don't want to go to that site. You don't want to input information there because it's not secure. The connection is not secure. So again, this is just a security setting. It's not guaranteeing bad stuff from not happening. It's just making it easy for it to work. Now, there is an exception thing. So if you go to a site and it says this is HTTP only, it'll ask you, do you want to use it? You can say yes, or you can manually add sites. But chances are pretty good in this day and age, there's not any sites you're going to that are HTTP only. Most of them should be HTTPS if they're configured correctly.
So, Darren, before we proceed, there might be listeners out there who's like, what does HTTPS mean and what does HTTP mean? And obviously the glaring difference is the S at the end. So just in case there's listeners wondering what is the difference or what does it mean, could you just briefly explain what it means and what the difference is?
Right. So HTTP means hypertext something protocol. I forget what the second T stands for, protocol. But it's essentially the protocol that websites use to give you the information you're looking at. And If it's only HTTP, that information goes across the internet in clear text, meaning if somehow some bad guy is in between you and the website, it's going to capture all the data you're sending to that site. So if you're not doing anything on that site, you're not sending your personal information, financial information, there's not much they can do with it. If for whatever reason you're going to Big Vlad's electronics store to buy a TV, and it's coming from Russia, and he wants your login, he wants your credit card information, and you send that, and it's only http.biglads.com, then your credit card information will be seen in real text, in real time, right? Or in clear text if someone is monitoring that information. With the S, the information means secure or security, whatever. In between you and the site you're on, that information is encrypted. So if there is a man in the middle situation where there's a bad guy between you and the site you're going to, he can get the data, but it's all encrypted. It means nothing to him. So it basically adds encryption, which protects the communication between you and the site you're going to. Right.
You know, I think it's funny that when you try and think of somebody from Russia and you give them the name, it's always Vladimir. It's like the stereotypical Russian male name, Vladimir.
I know. That's the
So,
first thing
so here's the one. If
Nikolai.
what
Sorry.
what if you were to think of a British guy, what's the first name that comes to your head? Like the stereotypical British name.
Charles.
Charles, okay.
But what do you think it would be?
I don't know what it's for the UK. I honestly don't know. I think it's because I live here. I don't know. If I was to think US, the first one that comes to my head is Chad.
Is what?
Chad.
Okay. I don't know what kind of TV shows or movies you're watching, but that is not a common name over here. Well, the thing, look, we share a language. We all have the same biblical type names mostly. I mean, mine's not, but yours is Michael. He's in the Bible, right? I think there's a Michael in the Bible.
Yeah. There was
Charles, John, Luke,
yeah,
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. They're all biblical names largely. Darren's not, but
You know where I think Chad comes from, right? It's like, when you watch like American comedy films and it's like in a high school setting, there's always
there's
the
always a Chad,
frat
yes.
boy who's
Sure.
called Chad,
Yes.
and it's like
Fair
the
enough.
stereotypical US
Yes.
name, Chad.
All right. Well, okay. That is your
Charles and Chad. That would be an
your,
interesting night out.
yeah, your politically incorrect conversation of the podcast. There we go. All right. So now we get down to DNS over HTTPS. Basically, DNS is the system that converts google.com to the internet protocol address that the internet needs to tell it where to go, like the phone number. So the IP address for Google is 66.72.120.3. I made that number up. It's not that. But if you had to remember just numbers versus names, the internet would never work. That's why it's google.com, ford.com, zoom.com, all those things. It's easy to remember and where you want to go. DNS is the service that translates the name to the number so the traffic can actually move. And you want to have that as secure as possible. So the default protection is basically Firefox decides when to use secure DNS to protect your privacy. What you really want to do is go to max protection because that will utilize a third party. In this case, the default is Cloudflare through Firefox that will protect malicious DNS queries. So bad guys can get into the DNS servers and redirect sites from point A to point B that goes to the site it's not supposed to. Cloudflare kind of looks for those things and actively protects against it. So there are two options. There's NextDNS, or you can create your own. So if you have your own personal DNS that you use, I know one of the ones I've used in the past called OpenDNS. It's free. It's just a different DNS server versus your ISP's default. Because the ISP is not doing DNS security. They don't care. They just want DNS to work so you can get to where you want to get to. Cloudflare, that's their thing, is security. So this just, again, adds an extra level of protection in case you you type in the wrong website name, you go to the wrong website, your website is compromised for whatever reason, the DNS is spoofed. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that maybe that's a different conversation, but you want to, max protection is not going to hurt you. Now, you may find that if you're having issues with any of the websites, you need to go to check some of these settings and you may need to modify them to get where you're going to get to. But for most cases, this will add some extra protection. And that is it for the protection you need for Firefox. Now, if you're a cybersecurity expert and you disagree with any of that, or you have better suggestions, I am not saying I am the end all be all security expert for browser protection. I am just showing you kind of what I do to kind of protect my stuff for the browser I use. And if there's things that I said wrong, which is certainly possible, feel free to let me know. Dmod at fiveeyesltd.com or Michael M at fiveeyesltd.com or whoever you want to email. You hit me on LinkedIn, do whatever. But certainly I'm happy to come back and say, well, that was wrong of me. I made a mistake because I'm happy to admit I do not know everything. I just know what I know based on my experience.
I like the way you concluded that because that's something, it's not even just in cybersecurity, it's all walks of life, isn't it? Where we feel pressured that we've got to know everything, and
Right.
it's humanly impossible. So it's good to you to admit out loud that you don't know everything, and I'm the same. I don't know everything as well. So it's always good to get different people's opinions in the room to say, well, actually, I would do it this way, and this is why I would do it this way.
So is this going to make you a Firefox user? You gonna switch off of Edge and go to Firefox?
No, I'm uninstalling it after this podcast.
Why? It's okay. What's the problem? Why don't you like it?
You know what? I'm going to sound like every unconverted cybersecurity person. So every business is like, I don't need cybersecurity. I've got IT. Do you know what it is? I've just been, I think my brain has been so accustomed to using the browsers that I've used that the mental switch to change, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's the psychology when a company has always used an MSP or IT and then they say, oh, you should get cybersecurity. They're like, well, no, because I've never been cyber attacked and my IT's been going for 10 years. So why should I get cybersecurity? Again, it's the
Uh,
same psychological thought process.
it's convenience over security. We all do it,
Exactly.
right? But I will say,
Exactly.
if you look at, I mean, if you look at one of the browser we even forgot to mention was Chrome, right? Google's version. So the reason I don't, here's my problem with Edge. Microsoft has had so many problems in the past, and maybe Edge is great now. And I have Edge on here. I have it to use if I need to use it, but I tend not to if I don't need to. Now, there's certain sites that work better on Edge than work on Firefox. Like for right now, I have my Firefox settings that our Google Meet that we do for our business doesn't work on it for whatever reason. I have some setting that's kind of screwed up Google Meet, so it just won't work. But if I open up Chrome, it works on there. So I do Chrome for any business related stuff that I need some of the tools we have. But Firefox is my basic browser that I use because, again, I've used it long enough. I know what I like, and it has the right extensions that I need to use, has my password manager on it, has all that kind of stuff. So does Chrome and the other ones. But I just, for me, I refuse to use Edge because I don't trust Microsoft to know what they're doing security wise.
Well, see, back in the day, I used to use Mozilla every single day. But since, obviously, when I bought this new laptop, and it's a Windows laptop, Edge was automatically on it. So it's just, I've just automatically just start using it because that's what's on the device. It was so convenient, I'll just use it. So again, it ties back to what I was saying about companies using cybersecurity. It's like,
Yeah.
but what it seems so inconvenient. Like, why should I pay more for it when I've never had a cyber attack?
Yeah.
So it's the same thought process. I was a Mozilla person, got a new laptop, and now I'm on Edge.
I really like Brave too. Brave's really good because it does a lot of good blocking of pop-ups and stuff. It has a much better system for security. I really should.
Yeah.
I used to use it a lot more, but it just again, I'm using Firefox from a convenience perspective. The way I have it set up, it just I have a lot of folders there, and I just haven't converted them over to Brave to be able to use that one. But honestly, Brave has a lot more features that are better. It also has the ability to use Tor. You can create a Tor based browser on Brave, which puts you right in the dark web. So if you want to go search the dark web, you don't have to go and download the Onion Router application or the Tor. Actually, you don't have to do that anymore. You just need the Tor browser itself. I have that one too. I have that browser also. I just don't use it as much. If I'm going on the dark web, I just open up um, a Tor-based browser in Brave because I'll get the same security from the Brave browser while I'm in the dark web doing some stuff in there.
Just have a thought down.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to get bored endless of us just doing browser security. I think they get the picture. We've done two
Yes,
now.
we've done two.
They're
I
all
don't
sort
think
of the same.
yes,
I think next week we should go on the dark web. We should do a
yes,
podcast on going on the dark
going
web
on the dark
because
web.
when we talk, it's just
Well,
funny
hold
because when we
on.
talk to
Before you say that, you're going on vacation. We doing it next week, or we doing it the week after?
so thank you for reminding the listeners that I'm going on vacation again next week because they probably forgot about that. Yes, I'm going on vacation next week. So we won't do it next week. We'll do it the following week.
Yes, but
Or,
next week there will be a podcast. I'll either do it myself or I'll find a guest. So there will be something next week. So
yes, yeah, yeah. Do the guest next week.
yeah,
The following week, we'll go on the dark web because this is interesting. When we talk about the dark web on LinkedIn to the unconverted, they don't really know what it is. They don't know what it looks like. It's sort of this imaginary place that doesn't exist. And it's funny because when we speak to clients or customers about it, they're like, I don't even know really what the dark web is. So it'd be a really good podcast to show people what the dark web is. Um, Also depends how far you want to go into it, because when you're on the surface level of the dark web, it's very boring. It's just people talking about random stuff that you find on LinkedIn. It's just, what did you have for dinner last night? What you doing this weekend? It depends how far deep you want to go in, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
But we'll see how far we can get in next 2 weeks time. 2 weeks time, we'll see how far we can get in.
And there's only so far we can go because if we don't have access to the sites, we're not getting in past the site. So it's going to be useless. But there's certainly, I used to have an access to breach forums, but that no longer exists. But I'm sure there's an equivalent. So maybe before then I'll get access to a couple and we go in and kind of see, you can see what the bad guys are talking about, how they're doing it, what they're talking about. A lot of them are full of crap, but they think they're awesome. So there is that. So yes, we will raise the veil on the dark web.
And we can get a good laugh at them because me and you can just laugh at what they're doing, and then the listeners can also have a laugh at what they're doing because then they could say, "Oh, I'm the big person. I do this," and me and you will go, "No, they're not. No, they're
Right.
not. They're not
And
doing what they're claiming they're doing."
right. And hopefully they have a laugh, right? That's the key. If you're not laughing here, we're not doing our job right if we're not laughing, right? I mean, the other thing, here's what we should do. What we should have done is we should have seen if we can secure a browser in less time than it takes me to complete a Rubik's Cube. I bet you I can complete the Rubik's Cube quicker than you can secure your browser.
That's a challenge, by the way. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one for November.
There
We'll
you
leave
go.
that one for
Yeah.
November. We'll try and secure Google Chrome quicker than it's for you to do a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
There we go.
We'll call November. We're sick of hearing about cybersecurity month.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do the dark web in 2 months. 2 weeks time. We'll see how we go on.
All right. Any final tips you want to give anybody on anything before you go off on for a week and forget all about everybody and just hang out in the
Yeah, my tip
hang
would
out in your
be
because really, you told me when you're going on vacation, you're just going to a tent in your backyard, so you're never like going that far from your house. So.
yeah. That's what I need to tell the listeners. Like, don't try and rob me because I'm actually just in my back garden in a tent. You're right. Yeah. Um, no, my tip would be if you go on a podcast as a guest or as a host, don't tell the world you're going on holiday. That would be my
Oh,
tip for the day.
lighten
Don't
up,
do it.
Francis. By the time people listen to this, you'll be back from holiday anyway, so who cares?
Don't do it. Actually, tip, if you're going on holiday, don't put it on social media that you're on holiday.
Right, there
And
you go.
don't put your holiday pics when you're on holiday either, because you tell people where you are. You could go down a rabbit hole with this, but that's just my security tip. Don't tell people you're away on holiday.
Yes. Well, you don't even tell people who you actually work for, so you take security way deeper than I do, certainly on the personal stuff.
Absolutely, I do.
All right, Mike. As always, it's a pleasure. For everybody else, if you have thoughts, questions, comments, follow us on LinkedIn. Michael McQuaid, Darren Mott. You can look at our Five Eyes page, Five Eyes Ltd. Also on LinkedIn. We're have a whole LinkedIn marketing, not even a whole LinkedIn content thing going on next week. So look for those. I'm going to be micro posting. Mike's going to be macro posting, and we'll do something on the webpage, but it'll all be kind of similar. Also, you can email us, dmott at fiveeyesltd.com or Michael M at fiveeyesltd.com if you have questions, thoughts. If you want a domain search of your own company's domain, let us know. We can do that for you and tell you how messed up it is and that your MSP is probably not doing you any help. So with that, thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week. Know that knowledge is protection. If you can understand the threats targeting you, you can assess your risk. Proceed wisely. Have a great week.